Hello dear students and welcome back to K Gupte's online lecture series. In this particular video lecture, we are going to talk about the literary theory deconstruction. We'll talk about how this theory evolved, what are the principles of deconstruction in this video lecture. So deconstruction, it is a philosophical and literary analysis. It is a form of philosophical and literary analysis and derived mainly from the work begun in 1960s by French philosopher Jacques Derrida. So this deconstruction was coined by French philosopher Jacques Derrida and from his work that began in 1960s. This deconstruction questions the fundamental conceptual distinctions or oppositions in Western philosophy through a close examination of language and logic of philosophical and literary texts. So, this philosophy or this literary theory examines language and logic of philosophical and literary texts. In 1970s, the term was applied to the work of Derrida, Paul Deman, J. H. Miller, and Barbara Johnson, among the other scholars. So with Jacques Derrida, Paul Deman, J. H. Miller, and Barbara Johnson, these were the critics who also are famous for deconstruction theory. In the 1980s, it designated more loosely a range of radical theoretical enterprises in diverse areas of humanities and social sciences, including in addition to philosophy and literature, law, psychoanalysis, architecture, anthropology, theology, feminism, gay and lesbian studies, political theory, historiography, and film theory. In polemical discussions about intellectual trends of the late 20th century, deconstruction was sometimes used pejoratively to suggest nihilism and frivolous skepticism. In popular usage, the term has to come to mean a critical dismantling of tradition and traditional modes of thought. We know that this deconstruction was coined by Jacques Derrida. So this concept was first outlined by Derrida in his book of Grammatology. Remember the name of the book of Grammatology, where he explored the interplay between language and construction of meaning. So according to him, there is an interplay between language and the construction of the meaning. From this early work and later works in which he has attempted to explain deconstruction to others, mostly and notably to the letter to a Japanese friend, it is possible to provide a basic explanation to what deconstruction is commonly understood to mean. And there are three key features that emerges from Derrida's work as making deconstruction possible. So first is that there is inherent desire to have a center. There is a desire of a center or a focal point to structure understanding. So it is also called a desire for a center or a focal point. It is called a logocentrism that has been discussed by Jacques Derrida. And second is the reduction of meaning to set definitions that are committed to writing. So according to him, there is nothing beyond the text. It is not like nothing in the text, but it is said that according to Jacques Derrida, nothing is there beyond the text. And finally, how the reduction of meaning of writing captures opposition within the concept itself. So it is the concept of difference. So there is a difference in the meaning. These three features found the possibility of deconstruction as an ongoing process of questioning the accepted basis of meaning. Deconstruction is a means of interrogating the relationship between the two. Deconstructionist criticism rejects the traditional assumptions that language represents reality. Language, according to deconstructionists, is a fundamentally unstable medium. According to deconstructionist criticism, that language is most unstable and it is a fundamentally unstable medium, and therefore literary texts which are made up of words have no fixed and single meaning. Because it is supposed as language is unstable and the literary text is made up of words. That's why these words have no fixed meaning, no single meaning. And deconstructionists insist and believe that literature cannot definitively express its subject matter. And it is also supposed that literature cannot express its subject matter, and this is not the single meaning or single subject matter that can be expressed through the literary text. Deconstructionists focus on how language is used to achieve power, since they believe, in the words of critic David Lehman, that there are no truth, only rival interpretations. Deconstructionism or deconstructionism argues that since there is no single meaning of any word, there can be no single meaning of a text. So it is supposed, according to David Lehman, that there is no truth, only rival interpretations are there in the text. And that's why it is supposed that there is no single meaning of any word, and there can be no single meaning of a text, because there is no single meaning of a word. That text is made up of words. That's why if there is no single meaning to the words, there cannot be a single meaning even to the text. Every text therefore has multiple valid meanings, because the reader may interpret the words differently than the writer intended them. So a reader can have a different meaning to the words. The words has been used by the writer. He can add the different meaning to that text. So there is no single meaning to that text according to deconstructionist criticism. Idea that because there is no concrete meaning of anything, there is no single truth applicable to all human beings. As it is said that there is no concrete meaning to anything, according to deconstructionist critics. There is no single truth applicable to all human beings, and that's why there is no single meaning of any text, and therefore the everything is relative. Every meaning is also relative. So, deconstruction is a critical outlook concerned with the relationship between the text and the meaning. Jacques Derrida's 1967 work of grammatology introduced the majority of ideas influential within deconstruction. So, in this book, Jacques Derrida's book of grammatology, he has introduced majority of these deconstructionist ideas that are influential within deconstruction. Derrida's uh, inspiration was Ferdinand de Saussure. He took the inspiration from the work of Ferdinand de Saussure as language as a system of signs, and words have only meaning because of the contrast between these signs. So as Ferdinand de Saussure says that language as a system of signs, in the structuralism we have seen that language as a system of signs and words have meaning because of the contrast between the signs, because of the contrast between the words. So Jacques Derrida has the inspiration, that he has the inspiration from Ferdinand de Saussure. General methods and assumptions of deconstruction. It is a theory. Deconstruction is a theory used in the study of literature or philosophy which says that a piece of writing does not have just one meaning or single meaning, and that text may have the meaning depend upon the reader. So, according to this deconstructionist theory, there is no single meaning, or the piece of writing does not have the single meaning or just one meaning, but that meaning depends upon the reader. And what are the assumptions or methods uh, as follows in the deconstructionist theory? Deconstruction involves close textual analysis and argument to reveal the rhetorical or logical contradictions in the text. They try to discover subtext in the text. So they analyze the rhetorical or the logical contradictions in the text. They try to discover the subtext in the text. And then second is the deconstructionist critics use three methods: verbal, textual, and linguistics to find out the subtext in the text. As first, they analyze binary oppositions in the text, as there is a binary opposition. They try to find out the binary opposition in the text, as if there is a man, there will be woman, inside, outside, black, white. So it is called a binary opposition. They try to find out the binary opposition in the text. And second, to reveal their interconnections, they try to find out the interconnections between these two or the different meanings in the text. And third, they deconstruct the main text by studying subtext. So they try to find out the subtext. They deconstruct the main text and they study the subtext. They study meanings which are contradictory to surface meaning. So they try to find out the contradictory to the surface meaning. They want to find out the subtext, and that's why they analyze the text verbally, textually, and linguistically. Derrida says that there is nothing outside the text, which is often used to summarize Derrida's work. And it is said that meaning does not exist outside the language. Through this statement, it is suggested that all history, identity, and reality is available only through their textualization, that is, through their insertion into language. And Derrida terms this phenomenon difference, and it is this idea that forms the basis of deconstruction. Difference refers to the fact that meaning cannot be regarded as fixed or static but is constantly evolving. They assume that language is never stable. Meaning is the result of difference, and this process of differentiation is endless. Meaning is never present in the sign. So, according to this theory, that meaning always changes, and that meaning we can get because of the difference and because of that binary opposition. So this theory says that there is no single meaning of the text. We have to deconstruct the main text and we have to find out the subtext in any literary text, in the any work of art. Ronald Barthes, Jacques Derrida, Paul Deman, Geoffrey Hartman, J. H. Miller, Harold Bloom, Michael Foucault are the major thinkers in the school of deconstruction. So these all have contributed to the theory of deconstruction. So Thank you for watching this video lecture and have a nice day. Thank you.